Yeah, looks like.
Mm.
This is my question.
That probably evolved.
Mm.
So the Eastern Empire was more affluent, which led to internal tensions that made the empire vulnerable from outside for outside attacks, like the barbarians in the north, the Germans. Weakness led to outside attacks. Money to mobilize an army was necessary. This made it necessary to raise taxes, and this led to local opposition and tax evasions.
Local means outside Rome.
Outside Rome, right. But these were entire countries, right? So these countries, when they were forced to pay higher taxes, they would revolt against it. And this led to internal struggles. So that there was basically...
it means their territory getting so huge. It means that they cannot handle by themselves.
Exactly. And there was not so much, not always so much loyalty within the empire. So if, for example, there was an attack from the east, the western part of the empire would not be exactly enthusiastic to help the eastern part of the empire to defend the eastern part. So to be loyal to their brothers in the east and vice versa.
Why Eastern Empire continues more than 1,000 years
Because
rather
actually,
than Western Empire?
because they were more stable and they were more economically affluent.
Okay.
They were just more successful.
Okay.
So basically, the economic problems led to the fall of the Western Empire, while the Eastern Empire continued until 1453, when the Ottomans took control of the region.
Okay.
So this is the another important thing to remember and that this is actually the history of the world mainly. But if we look at this map, this is a map of the beginning of the Middle Ages. We look at the position of these different peoples here. Like, for example, if we look at the Franks. They were located here. Now, Franks were the people who later became France. So the Franks moved here. If we look at, let's take another example. The Lombards, they're here, but later they got their power over here. The Angles and the Saxons, they're here in northern Germany and Denmark, but they came to dominate the UK, England. So we see that basically the Europeans were in constant movement. People were moving north, south. They were at war, and they were changing their positions constantly. So this whole the Germans here, for example, Germany, basically, where the Saxons and Angles left to England, the Germans actually moved westward to control this area that we now know as Germany. So Europe, historically speaking, has had many different peoples, and they also were constantly on the move. So the Western Roman Empire fell, and that led to the period which is called the Middle Ages. There are the early Middle Ages, the High Middle Ages, and the Late Middle Ages. The early Middle Ages was characterized by a decline in population, a counter-urbanization, which I already mentioned, is basically that the cities were disappearing, people were moving away from the cities, and it became a agricultural society, movement of people, and very strong domination of the Catholic Church. basically the Roman Empire was replaced. The power of the Roman Empire was replaced by the power of the church. They were the main.
Church gets power.
Right. So this is a period of relative poverty, but actually that starts to change in the High Middle Ages. That starts around the year 1000. The population started to grow. One reason is technological progress. So people were, for example, growing crops, which is very labor intensive, and they started to raise cattle, which actually brought and they also introduced like agricultural technology, like plows and things like that. Another factor was that actually the climate was warming up. Around the year 1000, basically it was getting a little bit warmer in Europe, and this led to an increase in crop yields. In that time, they had a system of manors that was basically that led.
What is manor?
Manor is a village where the farmers live. So basically, farmers, people who they're not really the owners of the farm. They are people who work on the farms and to provide their services, their labor on the farmland.
Fief.
I don't know what that is.
Fief.
Thief?
Fief.
What's that?
Fief.
I don't know what it is.
Thief.
Thief?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
This is thief means this eras, this is fee.
Ah! Yep. Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. Yeah. Stockloaners, yeah. So basically, they rent themselves out. They don't own the farmland, but they work on the farmland around them. And feudalism, that's the political structure whereby knights and lower status nobles owed military service to their overlords in return of their right to rent lands from and rent manors. So basically, that's the system. Also known in Japan, right? You also had a feudal system with a military class, and to protect the farmers, and the farmers were to contribute and pay for military service to keep them safe from attacks from overseas, from intruders. Intellectual life was marked by scholasticism. Philosophy that emphasized joining faith to reason.
What was scholasticism?
Basically, it's a it is a scholastic. Yeah. So faith is in itself is something not very rational, right? It's a more or less a conviction. It's a.
はい、皆さんこんにちは、雲野です。今日はですね、雲野塾の研修のプログラムをご紹介したいと思います。で、こういうふうなホームページありますけれども、ぜひですね、一度中身をご覧になっていただきたいと思います。今日はブーキューブさんのスタジオに来て、 この収録をしておりますので、中身はこういうふうになってて、今最近ホットなね、グローバルリーダーの定義など書いてあります。で特に経団連が作成しました、留学すれば英語ができて専門性を持つというだけではですね、グローバルリーダーになれないと、ここに書いてありますようにですね、仕事ができる、専門性を持つ、英語ができるだけじゃなくてですね、私どもの塾ではリベラルアーツということ、それからもう一つは孫子の兵を、さらにはですね、日本の歴史というものを合わせて教えることによって、皆さんが海外の欧米の方々と、もしくは華僑圏の方々と正々堂々と渡り合えるような人物を育成しようというふうなことを考えております。ここに次のスライドが出ておりますけれども、ここに書いてありますのはですね、さらに、私どもの雲野塾の中身につきましてはですね、欧米の資料しか使っておりません。また実際に雲野塾は英語でやっておりますので、英語の講師がこう話しておりますけど、学習はですね、日本の歴史をまだ教えてますので、学習の午後はですね、日本のプログラムをしております。で以前はこれ有料だったので、今はですね、実際に会場費も取っていただいておりませんで、毎回5000円ということで、朝9時から午後5時までやっておりますので、ぜひ皆さんですね、ご検討の上ご参加いただければと。英語のできない方もですね、学習の午後こういうふうな研修をしておりますので、ぜひご参加いただければというふうに思っておりますので、よろしくお願いします。でここにさらにですね、グループ討議とか実務の勘どころを教えると書いてありますけど、実際には私が10年ほどですね、欧米の新聞とか雑誌等をですね集めてきた、もともと英語のベースでございますので、そうしたものをですね50セッションのテーマに分けて資料作成をしております。そういうことで、世界のオペレーション、もしくはカントリーリスクも含めてですね、しかも世界のトップの方々に対してもいろいろな分析とか洞察をしてですね議論をしております。そういったことも含めてですね、今後ともよろしくお願いしたいと思います。以上で私の挨拶を終えますが、今回のこのビデオの収録にあたってはですね、V キューブさんのスタジオをお借りしてですね、お時間を頂戴して、このビデオを作成させていただきました。よろしくお願いします。どうもありがとうございました。